was into drug addiction, alcohol addiction, God knows what else. Popeye is not exactly fully mobile, listens to soap operas. He's dependent on the old days in Subic Bay. That's all he has to relate to these days, except smoking his Camels and drinking his gin and getting on his mobility bike to go to bingo. I think that says it all. I think that says it all. So whatever it spews out of these people's mouths, take it with a grain of salt, because you got to realize the hatred is coming from their hearts, and they want to spread the hatred because they're not exactly where they want to be in life, or things just not happen, maybe at no fault of their own, or maybe at fault of their own, why they're living the lifestyle that they're living today, as a retired person or not. I suck in all this stuff. I'm not dense. I suck this all in. My brain remembers things. I don't have any Alzheimer's. I'm fine. And I'm actually a healthy 70-year-old, just turned 70. It still amazes me, really, because I didn't live a life like my parents did. They never went for checkups, never went to doctors. To them, Alka-Seltzer was the miracle drug. You got a problem, no matter what it is, you got a knife sticking out of your heart, take an Alka-Seltzer. That's pretty much the psychology or the philosophy, again, it was philosophy of their life. Well, that didn't turn out well for them, okay? The fact that I've lived to be 70, I think, is fantastic. Yes, I celebrated my 70th birthday on May 31st, born in 1954, and I'm still here. I'm very energetic. I try to stay active with some exercise. I'm doing all the right things. My diet, and the only thing I haven't fully conquered, of course, was tobacco. But even with that little downfall, I've managed to survive with no damage that would cause any, interfere with my mortality at this point. Something I'm trying to work on. So yes, you could probably call me a hypocrite in some ways and say, Frank, you do all these great things. I see what you eat. That's fantastic. I see you've been into supplementations like half your life and all that. I've had people acknowledge that. Probably was the glue that has kept me together all these years. I can't guarantee it, but I have a very good feeling that some of the practices I've done really helped me out. Pennywise. Hello, Pennywise. Now, all the shows that I've done on YouTube, and it wasn't just for entertainment purposes, but it was for entertainment. I gave everything I could. Shit, I'd sing, I'd dance, I'd make jokes. I would trade insult to insult with people when they deserved it. Didn't get anywhere really, but that's just the way it is on YouTube, expect it, okay? If you're gonna be on social media, just expect it. It just goes along with the territory. If you haven't figured it out by now, I guess you never will. So you wanna become a YouTuber, huh? Well, I'd have something to say about that. I'd have a lot to say about that. I would probably suggest no. If you wanna listen, that's fine, but to become an actual YouTuber on here, you got to give up a lot, But if you're strong enough, you'll keep your dignity, you'll keep your pride, and just kind of go along with the flow and realize that nothing's perfect in life and nothing's perfect on social media. There's always going to be a heckler out there. There's always going to be somebody that's envious something about you. God, we got a guy out there that stalks people. Seriously. He wants to be around all these so-called famous or infamous vloggers, goes to their homes, whether they like it or not, shows up. We got all kinds of people. We got a woman on there with a very suspicious laugh, and you have to question her psychology. I mean, who laughs with, at the end of the laugh, to go, this is what we have. This is what we have on YouTube, man. Some people, maybe not familiar with YouTube, we never got involved there, we never understand that the psyche of YouTubers, the psychopathy of people on social media, unless you actually sat there for a number of years and you tuned in on different shows and you listened to people talk of people on social media, unless you actually sat there for a number of years, and you tuned in on different shows, and you listened to people talk.
Yeah, and Frank is so perfect, everybody. So perfect. He's just
Yeah,
so
and Frank
perfect,
is
man.
so perfect,
Keep
everybody.
listening. Keep
So perfect.
listening.
Just listen to it. Spend the time. If you can't listen to it all at once, listen to it in segments. It's the best thing I can tell you. All right, why am I coming on here this morning on a live stream? Okay. I pretty much think that I made a conscious decision to stop blogging. No, it has nothing to do with nobody's pushing me away. I never gave in to that, and everybody knows that. I never gave in to that. Never. I always said that's going to be on my own accord and choice when I decide it's time. I turned 70 years old back in May. I've spent enough time on here. I got my thoughts out. Yeah, sometimes I did get personal, which is probably my big bugaboo. But I wanted to get more personal. So I did a show prior to this that's uploading where I'm going to get a little personal. Nobody put a gun to my head, and there's no reason I need to explain anything to anybody because you don't really have to on here. You don't really have to, but you know, I'm very famous for serving those famous dishes of crow, and I guess in part that's what my show is about. Where people came up with some analogy or formed some analysis of who I am and what I am and what I'm all about. Well, of course they were wrong, but I've proved it so many times. All right, you want me to read your comments? Some troll going under a sock account name says, Frank, how can you let go Popeye saying that he would implicate your woman and daughter, that he would rape them, is that what you meant? And can't say full word, won't let me type it. How do I answer that? I'll say every dog has its day. How's that for an answer? There's nothing wrong with my memory. Nothing wrong at all. Popeye will succumb to his own physiology. Okay? Sometimes you don't have to lift a finger. You got to understand, sir, that they're saying these things to get you goat and pull your chain. If you don't realize that, then you definitely got something wrong with you. That's just the way it is on here. Popeye feels, Mr. Robert Clausen of Florida feels that he's very protected by being thousands of miles away in the protective nature of his cell phone or computer, whatever he uses, laptop. And he feels that nobody, but yet, historically, we all know that he ran away, well, he didn't run away, but he got off YouTube several times when people, and he doesn't have exactly a lot of people that like him, and obviously for good reasons why, that he went into hiding. See the irony in this whole thing, you know. He's a small dog that wants to have a big bark, and that's really all it comes down to. That's all it comes down to. And a lot of them are exactly like that. That's what they're doing. Big bark, but no bite. Well, I'm a person that could bark, but I could also bite. And put it this way, he knows damn well that he lived any closer to me, he would be opening his mouth for anything. You see, when people have reached the bottom of the barrel on their insults, and this is going to be long form answering your question, sir. When people have reached the bottom of the barrel, they figure they just can't do any more harm to anybody. They tried, and they tried, they even tried legal sanctions, they tried everything, and nothing worked for them. So what do you do? They will dig and dig deeper. Again, their nails are busting, their fingers are bleeding, to the bottom of that proverbial oak barrel, like the digging for my brother, you know, till they practically wind up in China. Well, we're a lot closer to China here than Popeye is. So he'd have to dig really down in that oak barrel. But when they can't win on a insult situation with people, what do they do? What do they do? They have to make up something else or say something even more terrible than what they're saying about somebody. They don't want you to win. They still think it's a contest. It's not a contest on here. Feeling about that person right away without knowing anything else about him, okay? Even if you didn't know that they were immobile, even if you didn't know how sad their life was, you could pretty much come to that conclusion by listening to their shows, what they say, what they do, who they talk about, how they talk about. It speaks volumes, sir. It speaks volumes. Frank, are you a bigger person than the pipsqueak Robert? Robert is probably smaller than you. He's not real tall. No, he could be about, he might even be a little taller than me. They're probably lost. He's probably about 5'8". Definitely 5'7", about my height, but he could be about 5'8". He's not a big guy. I've seen pictures of him. He's got big ass ears. You know, if a fucking swift wind came up, he'd probably be airborne. And that's partially why he doesn't come on camera. And he doesn't come on camera for a couple of reasons. Because he's hated. He doesn't want people to know what he looks like for several reasons. Because he's not very pretty to look at, for one. For two, he doesn't want to expose himself. He's one of these nameless, well, not nameless, but faceless trolls. And we have a few of them out there, like John Blaze, that don't dare come on camera. Oh, they're going to put out lots of words. They're going to get creative and make videos about people. But the fact is, would they ever really meet somebody that they're putting this shit out in person? The answer is very easily no. They will not do that. Why? Because they are cowards. Proven, without a doubt. Talk is cheap. That's all it is. It's talk. Let's hurt somebody's feelings. Let's talk about their family. That's Aloe's philosophy that Popeye picked up on. And as well, Popeye's adopted son, Nico, who can't talk because the guy was a drug addict and still an alcoholic. So I get a kick out of what Nico talks about, because he can't back up any statement at all, and neither could Popeye. Oh yeah, they want to see you dead on a slab. But do you know what the real irony of this is? Truthfully, these particular people, at least two of those people at least, and I don't want to give away everything on my last show that's uploading right now, it's processing. I don't want to give it all away. But it's these very people themselves, just like Fazio, they're going to expire well before their time. It's these people that will never, ever put a bad word about anybody on YouTube again. They'll be gone, just like Michael Fazio. Just a matter of time, and maybe sooner for some. Okay. It shows their real character when a person resorts to the gutter. Yes, it does. Look, when you reach the bottom of the barrel, that's when you get to the point of threats, and that's where Popeye has gone down to. He has gone that low. Because he's sitting on his so-called protective throne in Florida. That's what he's doing. He figures nobody's going to touch me. I'm an ex-Navy man. He's in his 60s. And he's partially immobile. Can't even walk on his own without the help of a mobile vehicle, electric mobility vehicle. Nico opened his mouth, and, well, as he always does, and revealed that himself, that he was a drug addict and alcoholic, and opened his mouth again and slipped and stated that Popeye does not use his scooter as a regular bike, that it's a mobility vehicle. See, sometimes you slip and you fall. He did. So are these people, and think about it, are they in any position to talk about anybody else on here? No, they're not. Obviously not. Look at Roberto. The guy ate so much that he had to have a gastric bypass because he couldn't shut his mouth, verbally or, gastronomically. And he had to have a gastric bypass. I mean, people can speak all they want, but look at the shit that they're going through. Oh, they don't want to talk about that. Popeye will pay the price. Don't worry about it. Popeye will pay the price without even me lifting a finger. He will pay the price. He is a really disgusting human, if I could even give him credit to calling him a human. He's miserable. All his life, this is what he does. And he watches soap operas, General Hospital, goes to bingo, and now he's on a mobility scooter. Fate has already caught up with this guy. There's nothing he could say that's going to faze me. He could talk about my daughter, I'm going to rape her, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. Of course I recorded that shit. He says, no, he never recorded it. Actually, I did. It was from actually computer to phone. I recorded that whole show on Nico's show, and I heard everything that Nico said. We got a recording of that. It was made into an SD, put on an SD actually. A copy of that was sent to my lawyer. For the records, I did actually do a police report on Nico. That's true. That's true. And they laugh at it. Oh, it's just a piece of paper. Well, it wasn't a piece of paper to Barry, and it wasn't a piece of paper to this other guy on Facebook, because that little piece of paper, what that little piece of paper does that they make fun of, it creates history. It tells the legal system that, yes, the person was problematic enough to make a police report on him, and you can use that to your advantage. So I'm not that stupid after all, huh? And it worked for me 2 times. It worked for me. And I took the precaution with other people in the past. They all have police blotters. It's called a police blotter. And they'll laugh at it and say, it's only a police blotter. It's nothing, Popeye says. It's nothing. Oh, no, you're so wrong. It's something that leads to something. If shit ever hit the fan, you've got that police blotter report. And in Nico's situation, he's never going to settle in the Philippines. He better pick Colombia or somewhere else. Because I will tell you that he's not wanted here. No, he's not wanted here. And the way he just kind of defames people in the Philippines and Filipinas, and well, you see what his attitude is. It's not a very good attitude to even visit this country. Nobody can stop him. But there could be a point that immigration holds them over for questioning. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm not telling you everything. I don't tell you everything. As much as I get personal on here, I don't tell you everything. Okay, what's that? Surely his address can be traced by cops on the floor. We all know his address. I know Popeye's exact address. I know what his house looks like. I know he inherited from his mom. I know his relatives' names. But I don't do bad things like they do. I can call all his relatives and say all kinds of shit about him. I can do that. His relatives are listed, daughter, all that shit. But I'm not going to go as low as these people. I'm not going to mess with the family like that. In his case, he's determining his own fate in life, both mentally and physiologically. Popeye's not going to be around for too much longer. And Nico, well, that goes without saying. The damage he's already done to his body from the drugs, I know this is a fact, because I talk about my brother on my last video, predominantly. I do talk about family, by my choice. And I know about this stuff. I know what happens to your body when you've been on drugs for a long time. I know what happens to your body even with one drink of alcohol, one simple drink of alcohol, and what it does to your liver. Imagine drinking all the time. I know about this stuff. I'm learned on this stuff. They have their own problems they're going to be dealing with. Why didn't I report his threats? You mean the Popeye? It's useless. What, you think I'm going to get on a plane and fly over there? If he was closer, I'd consider it. Look, I got nothing to lose at my age, really. If I really wanted to get that down and dirty, I'd get on a plane, come right up to his goddamn door, and do what I needed to do to satisfy me in honor of my family and a lot of other things. Sure, I could do that anytime. I'm not broke. But am I going to fly 15,000 miles to come to his door? In his territory? Am I going to spend that money and time to prove something? I think I proved a lot already. I don't need to fly over there. I don't need to do that at all. He's been punished his own way. Look at the life he's living. He can't walk real well without the aid of a mobility scooter. He's full of hate, and he proves it by what he spews out on his shows all the time. So you really think Popeye's living a good life? I think he's already suffering. Like you say, what are you going to do about it legally? Nothing. Nothing at all. Let Mother Nature take care of this jamoli, as he likes to say. Let Mother Nature take care of it. Took care of Fazio. And I can think of a few other people that have been very adverse to me. I just kick back and say, let Mother Nature do its job. And it will. And I know enough about certain people on here to know that it's very obvious where they're leading to. Their lifestyle, their obesity, their attitude, everything else. Look at Barry, what happened to him one time. Somebody from a bar or whatever busted a fucking bottle over his head. Of course, he blamed it on me. I was never in the area. It was real convenient to blame it on me. What happened was he probably tried to fuck with somebody's chick. He got what he deserved. His attitude, his mouth, which has always gotten him into trouble. Look where he is. This is proof. This is proof that everybody has a destiny. Everybody. They all have a destiny. And they are responsible, and only themselves are responsible for their own destiny. In Fazio's case, he would have died anyway, if not from his blood infection. But he had other things going on with him. I know more about Michael Fazio than most people think. Because when I was friendly with Warren spilled the beans. There's things I never talked about on YouTube about Mr. Fazio. Lots of things when I was pretending to be friendly with Warren, who, by the way, is still on under a bunch of different names. He's Johnny Watt. He's a number of people on here. I learned a lot about him that I never shared with anybody. Did you know that he was a lookout man for a neighbor? I might have talked about that once. He was a lookout man for a neighbor who was selling drugs. They would front him a few pesos or even a few of the drugs for him to shut his mouth and be a kind of a lookout. But if the police came in, he would call them right away and say, hey, we got some police out here. You didn't know that, did you? Did you know that Fazio used to stuff certain drugs up his asshole because of the absorption? You didn't know that. Did you know he continued to smoke cigarettes even though he said he quit? Did you know that he was hitting the bottle almost on a daily basis? Some of you didn't know that. I did. Because what he talked about with Warren was highly, highly personal. He let it all out with Warren, like Warren was his savior, his brother, the friend that he never had. And when Warren was on the outs with Fazio, it all came out. You know, like I always say, it, comes out in a wash. Well, this was one of those situations where it all comes out in the wash. And it did. It always does eventually with everybody on here. They expose a part of themselves they didn't want anybody to know, but by accident they slip and they say something and, well, it gets out. That's the way it goes. Thought Warren was the popo. Pennywise, again, they all float. They do. And they have, and they will. I'm not worried about Popeye. Yes, I'm aware, and I got it. He said I didn't record it. I had no chance to do it. He's wrong. He's wrong. Because what happened was I went to Bantayan and I did a live while I was going to Bantayan. But what I did was, before I left the house, remember I have two cell phones and I have a laptop. So what I did was I put my other cell phone on a stand, and I, took the laptop out during the live show with Nico and Popeye, and I recorded it from there while they were doing the show. So they took the show off, thinking that nobody's had a chance to copy this. But they could, played around with their remix thing, saying that, to disallow anybody from copying it. But see, the difference was, I was copying it live when the show was going on. I had my other cell phone focused on the screen of the computer, shows the name of the show, Nico's Experience, and it recorded everything they said. To a certain point, because my battery went out. The memory, I think either the memory was low, or I forgot which it was at the time. But no, I recorded it. I actually have that show of them with their death threats and implications, everything they said. That's my ace in the hole. And yes, I did something with that information. I did. It was put on an SD card. And that link, actually, I forwarded it over to my lawyer's office. And I forwarded it somewhere else. Somebody has a very deep interest in Nico. Very deep interest. So, any future problems? I've got that information. Okay. Oh, so he's got me on here. Good, good, good. It means I'm very relevant. I have arrived, Popeye. Sure, Popeye listens to every show I do. That's where he gets information to put his little skits together. This immobile idiot has nothing better to do with his time to make shows, and that says like a mouthful about his life. It's not his house. Well, it is now, but he inherited it from his mom. He never bought the house he's living in. He doesn't have any friends. When does he ever talk about friendships? When? When does he talk about friendships? I'm going out with Joe for lunch, we go out for dinner. When does he go anywhere other than where he lives? The biggest event he had was to go to a casino. I don't know how many months ago that was. He actually went to a casino. Left the house. Left the house. Actually left the house. Took him away from his gin and camels and left the house. Took his mobility scooter or took his walker and went to a casino. Wow. Let's see, it's Friday evening in Florida. Boy, oh boy, he's living the dream in Florida. Yeah, he's living the dream, all right. I'm not letting anything go on here. But sometimes you gotta let fate, just do its thing. Popeye being not as mobile as he used to be, he don't exercise, he doesn't do shit. His heart is not healthy. Shit, I get on my goddamn machine every day, no matter what my age is. I even do some hand weights. I even do some isometrics, which I will be doing this morning after this show. They talk about age. Oh, he's going to die soon because he turned 70. Really? You know that, huh? What guarantee do you have on that? Oh, because I smoke? There's people that smoke to live to be 105. It's according to your genetics, and it's according to a lot of other things, because maybe you do other things good about yourself. Your diet, supplementation, there's a lot of reasons. I don't think I'm going anywhere real soon, to be honest with you. But then again, faith is faith, and Mother Nature is Mother Nature. They make the decision. Popeye poses zero credible threat to Frank. I know that. Look, you just gotta just be entertained by them, the best I can say. Take it with a grain of salt. Because when Popeye gets his feelings hurt, that's when he lashes out. You know he's going to do a show. He's doing a special show today because he knows I'm doing a live. That's why. It's like a little child. I'm going to show you. You're talking about me. I'm going to do another show about you. Popeye has nothing to boast about. Nothing. The guy hasn't been laid in how many years? Somebody might say, well, how do you know that, Frank? Well, if the guy is that immobile, has such a hateful attitude, why would anybody want to connect with him? His own wife, who was a fucking whore from Subic Bay, left him because he was a schmuck. Now she's living a good life. She's doing a retail store where she sells Asian foods. She's doing very well, I understand, too. She's happy. She's with a new man, a real man. She left him in the dust. She left him in the dust. And Popeye, yes, he doesn't have any credibility at all. Neither does Nico. And Nico doesn't understand a few things. He's just being a brave boy on his show to satisfy Popeye, his new daddy. Nico's in a bad situation. He's not going to come up, but a lot of times he does say things too. Okay, Popeye couldn't get Nico to come on his YouTube channel as he has to post Frank's video. Right. Yeah, that's my understanding. I don't know if that's true. See, at least on my show, if I don't know it to be true, I'm going to say it. They can make up all the things they want, but I don't make up anything. I heard that too. I heard that too, more than once, that she left him for some black dude. Well, what's the difference? If he's a good guy, no matter what color skin he is, if he's a good guy and he's taking good care of her, then kudos for Popeye's ex. Don't matter what color skin. Is the guy taking good care of her, doing things that Popeye couldn't do sexually, financially, emotionally, morally? Then this guy is a blessing to her. An absolute blessing. Perineum says, I could never understand why they hate you so much. First of all, I have an idea who Perineum Inspector is. And I think that's Jerry. First, hi, Jerry. Well, it's more simple than you think, really. They're not living the life I am, and they got things going on in their life that are not very good, whether it's their physiology, the mechanics of their body, whatever it might be. And they don't want to see anybody be happy. I mean, this is a common talk I have all the time on my shows. All the time. And I do mean all the time. They're not living the life they like. They want to live their life vicariously through me and other people. It's not really hard to explain. They're not living the life that they want to. And it shows what a low life they are when they're going to make threats to my girlfriend or my daughter or her kids or whatever it might be. It shows what a low life they really are. And people know that Popeye's a low life. They already know that. It's not new news. People listen to him like anybody does for the entertainment purposes. Popeye figures he's going to get a reaction from me, and all his videos are based on reactionary values. Because he doesn't have anything else to do with his life. Nico, of course, is chasing his tail all the time, and he's never going to go forward in his life. You know, you can't fuck a woman if you don't have a fucking set of three. If you have a pussy, you're going to have to go for a lady boy. That's just the way it is. And the guy admitted he's a drug addict. Admitted he's an alcoholic. So why would they attack me when I'm neither of the above? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they could. Let's see. Starwise says, the threats I heard from Papa the other day was pure, adulterated viciousness and hate. Very disturbing to listen to. Well, welcome to the club. This is what YouTubers do that are envious of somebody else's life. That's what they do. There's more behind the person than you know. Yeah, there's more behind that person than you know. Popeye was a loser in life with friendships. Even in the Navy, people talked about him. Okay, how do I know this? I got a lot of, let me tell you something. I got a lot of information from Warren Hunt about, for example, Fazio. But I don't know where Warren got his information about Popeye. I'm not sure about that, but he sure said a few things about Popeye. Yeah, won't get into that. Unless I could verify it, I'm not going to say it. But if it's juicy enough to share, I will. Popeye doesn't affect me one way or the other. People recognize me for who I am, and I don't think generally, unless you're a troll, people like who I am. They like my show. They like my topic matter. They know I have a good heart. And if you're a troll, what you're going to do is try to convince other people that this is a bad guy. Oh yeah, according to Popeye, I'm a felon. Gee, when did that happen? A felon? Never committed a felony. Let me see it on paper, the felon papers. Let me see my conviction. You mean a civil lawsuit? Does that make me a felon? No. Civil case doesn't make me a felon. It wasn't a criminal case back in Hawaii. It was a civil case. Of course, they made big ado about it. I could never go back in the United States again. I could go anytime I want. As I said, I could dance in front of the police department. If they considered me a nuisance, they could put me in a cell for that. If I could go back to Hawaii, I'd go anywhere I want, sing and dance and whistle, and do whatever it is my business is in the States. I don't have any warrants against me, not even on a civil case. There are no warrants out for my arrest anywhere. My record is almost squeaky clean, other than some traffic or whatever violations of seatbelts or whatever. Other than that, a civil claim for my tenants. That's it. You know, a dealing with a landlord I used to have put me in a clinker, a holding cell for a day and a half. That's my big record. That's my criminal record. Oh, I went over that. So I'm a real criminal here. Wow. I'm like somebody to reckon with. Well, I am somebody to reckon with, really. When you think about it, I proved that. Popeye can't stand the fact that I'm living a better life than he is. I don't care who has more money. We're not talking about money. He don't spend it anyway. He don't go anywhere. He's homebound for the most part. But he has a big mouth. He's the little chihuahua with the pit bull bark. That defines Popeye very accurately. Okay, let's see. Octung Philippines says, they are all jealous, Frank. You are the best vlogger in the Philippines. No doubt about that winning. Well, I'm glad people agree, but that's part of the problem. Pennywise Frank is a one-man wrecking crew. What I have to be. They're jealous of the fact that I put on good shows. And I'm trying to think of a reason to stay on YouTube, really. Like I said, I'm not making money from this. And I don't have to deal with these jamolis if I don't want to. So that's where this show comes in today. That's why I'm doing a live. I did have a talk with my girlfriend, and she said that maybe it's about time that you just, cut loose of this shit. In her own words, and accent and everything else, Not word by word is what she said, but it really came down to that. She said basically you don't have to prove yourself anymore. I think you've done a great job of that. I've dished out so many dishes of fucking crow. I like to joke about that all the time. That crow is becoming extinct. With Don C, with Popeye, with Nico, Roberto, the whole crew. Call it the Wrecking Crew. They don't like that. They want to have the last word in on me. They can have all the words they want right now, because I'm really seriously, after this live show, it's just going to cut the cord. I may even take all my shows down. I'm going to move on my life. Shit, I just turned 70. I don't need this crap. But if that's what I'm doing it to get off this thing for a while, and maybe a long while, maybe permanently. I think I've said what I need to say about the Philippines and everything else. I've given great advice to people, whether they take it or not. Now it's time to take care of me. Well, I always take care of me and my own. Anyway, nothing new about that. I'm here. Did you hear me cough one time on here? So much for my bad lungs, right? When do you hear me cough on here? I'm not like Barry was, coughing out his fucking lungs. And yeah, I still do smoke. I reduced it, but even as a smoker, there's nothing wrong with my lungs. Oh, believe me, they're not probably where they should be. That goes with the territory. Any one of you out there, too, living in a big city, it's like you're smoking a half a pack of cigarettes every day, whether you know it or not. And I can tell you that. I do the research. So making fault with me because, well, he's still smoking. You're going to die of your lung disease. You got emphysema. No, I have no emphysema. I have no COPD. I have a spirometry test. I get x-rays every now and then. Littlest things, I'll go to the doctor. He'll listen to my chest. If I got a viral infection, that sometimes happens with me, I get antibiotics for it. Et voila, I'm fine. A week later. No coughing. Have you heard me cough once on this show? I don't think you did, unless I was clearing my throat or something, but I don't think I did. Starwise says, it was very strange, Nico going back and forth to Colombia, living in a bedsit there for a month at a time. He seemed to be on his own there. Very strange. Well, you don't normally hear of Nico really fraternizing with a lot of people, or women especially. And when he came to the Philippines, he met up with this girl, Maria. She seems like a nice person, but she was kind of going along with some of the shit on that show the other day, you know, but she's very reluctant to give in to their insanity and their insults. So she has, for the most part, I think she has a good heart. She didn't want to get involved with that when Popeye was trying to ask her questions about me. Would you date somebody like me? And onward and onward, every insult that could come out of Popeye. Popeye is very brave to make threats to me from his little chair on his little golden throne with his useless legs, his useless mind and body, and put out hateful skits and talk about everybody else. It's not just me. They don't just talk about me. They like to focus on me, but they don't just talk about me. They talk about other people too. Why? I think I made that pretty clear at least 1,000 times. If I have to repeat it again, I'll repeat it. They don't have the life that they wanted or expected. They have disabilities, mental and or physiological problems or mechanical problems. They're miserable in their own skin, and they got to take it out on other people. Just like now that they said that Papa was doing a live. Okay. Of course he was going to react to my show, because one thing about Popeye that we all know, he's very defensive. God forbid anybody talks about the great Navy hero, Popeye, Robert Clausen, the great Navy hero that worked for the Pox Department. I won't get into that funny stuff again. Popeye does not like to be defeated. He has a personality. He will continue and continue and continue to make people look pretty lame, to make them look like the guy with the bad hat, or the black hat. That is his personality. Just like you're not going to change Barry's personality, you're not going to change Robert's personality. This is how he gets through in life. Okay, Hector. Your knowledge, really? I have knowledge of that? Your knowledge of banking and finance and economics speaks of your northern Italian roots. I'm sure you also have ties to the Sicilian families. They can take care of your issues with pop. I don't know about this knowledge of banking and finance and economics. I don't. That's a new one to me. I don't know where I have a lot of knowledge with that. I don't know where that came from. Maybe it's just a joke. Look, the truth is, if I wanted to take care of Popeye, I definitely could. My own cousin Gary is living actually probably about 100 miles from where, about 100 miles from where Popeye's living. He's up there too. He's about 72, but He knows people. If I wanted to really do something with Popeye, remember, I have a long arm. If I really want to do something, I'd fly out there myself. Or I'd make one phone call. And even though maybe my cousin, because of his age or something, I'm not really sure of his health situation, but last I ever talked to him, he seemed to be okay. All I had to do is one phone call, and I take care of business. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I still know, even the grandchildren of the people my father knew, that kind of carry on with this Italian tradition as far as their values about family and stuff like that. There's still people that remember me through my father. My father has met these people's kids and all that stuff. They know who I am if I made a phone call. They know exactly who I am. They might think, well, oh, Frank's son. Okay. Yeah, man, what could I do for you? You think I'm bullshitting, right? Do you really think I'm bullshitting? I'm not. I'm not going to go there, man. I'm not even going to remotely go there. I'm not a fucking hitman. Thank goodness I'm not, because there'd be some people in big trouble. There really would be some people in big trouble. I'm not a hitman. Fucking A, I'm just turned 70 years old. And I'm certainly not going to do it on my own. I could easily have somebody take care of something for me. Even right here, if I want. But I'm not going to get involved with that kind of shit. If somebody has a beef with these people, let them take it out with them. You know, I know people who are really big on family and have heard Nico's shows and heard Popeye's shows. No, for real, they've heard his shows because I, well, kind of played it to them. That's one way they know. They're familiar with both characters, especially Nico. Oh, absolutely with Nico, I can tell you that. Yeah. I know people that would love to meet Nico. Seriously. Seriously. They want to know more about this guy. And they're in positions that could put Nico in a whole world of hurt when he comes over here. And I don't mean physical. We're not getting, nobody's threatening anybody in here. And I'm not going to go that low to threaten anybody. No, sir. I'm not that stupid. Okay? I mean, look, if I was that way, I could think of somebody right now who's having kind of a hard time. That it could have been different. He might not have been in jail. And it could have been a whole lot worse if I wanted that. But no, I didn't go in that direction. There's an old saying, what you can't do yourself, let somebody else do. If you really want to. I have that ability. Shit, you could hire somebody in the street for 500 pesos. It's that cheap if you really wanted to do that. I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. That's not who I am. I have to live with myself. I do. I have a conscience. I'll handle things legally. But like I said, what other people do, I can't control. No. It's out of my hands. What other people do is out of my control. Let's see. Star Wars. Popeye is an old man, and it's revolting to see a person at his age threatening to rape women. Yeah, I know what he said. And that goes to prove to all my viewers, without question now, that how low Popeye is and how brave he is behind a computer, because he figures nobody's going to come. Well, he don't know that either. That nobody's going to come to his house and straighten his ass out. Popeye figures that he can get away with whatever he says, and he's a faceless troll, and people know what he looks like, but he's a faceless troll who figured he could say anything he wants, especially when he gets his feelings extra hurt. That's when he gets more cantankerous. That's when he gets more mean and nasty and hateful. Right now, he's on a rage right now. Because everything he's tried with me failed. And his constituents. Everything they tried failed horribly. Everything. So when you get people that recognize you, meaning him, for the low life that he is, people see it. You don't have to try to convince anybody. They see it. They hear him. Yes, he did say those horrible things about killing me, raping the kid. Aloe does that too, but he's a faceless troll. Faceless trolls figure they could get away with anything. Sometimes they do. But you know what? They don't always. Okay, Octung says, you did take Nico down with one punch, Frank. You're a strong guy. Well, you know something, man? Truth is truth. Truth is truth. And when you present the truth to these losers, oh, they get defensive, but then they get offensive. That's how it works. On levels. Like Kramer said, Jerry, the answer is levels. You gotta have levels. Of course, I'm gonna go back to Seinfeld, right? Yeah, I have a sense of humor. I never get rid of that. But knowing who you are is all you need to know as an individual. People can say anything they want about you, true or not. Only you know the truth about yourself, right? Okay. If I had something to hide, I would have been off YouTube years ago. I would have ran away with my tail between my legs, like Popeye did on several occasions. When somebody was going to come to Florida, they were in the area, and he went offline for a long time. Do you remember that, guys? I don't know how good your memory is. He's a coward. He always will be a coward. What more can I really say about Robert, really? That hasn't been said before, and I'm just being terribly redundant, but just to make a show, I guess. We'll talk about it. And we have time and time again. Robert's never going to change. That's never going to happen. The other guy that's in jail, he's never going to change. That's why there's no leniency on my point. There's a method behind my madness, okay? And my methods work. Let them be who they are. Let them suffer the consequences of their own life and their physiology and their mental status. It all comes to fruition one day. It always does. It always does. Nico's reflexes is poor. He wouldn't be a man for a brawl. Probably not. But if he wants to try it out, he wants to beat up an old man. They call me an old man. Well, I'm old compared to somebody who's like 25 or 30 years old. I mean, yeah, I would be. 70 is the new 50s. And as I said, and I don't make this shit up, I've had a cotillion of people through the years living out here in the lovely Philippines that have always been surprised about my age and my agility. For real, I don't make this stuff up. I don't make it up at all. I have no reason to. And I don't go around polling people like they think I do. In conversation, sometimes these things come up. They find out what age I'm at, and they get very surprised, which is nice to hear. No matter what age I am, I look at these people on here, some of the trolls that some are a little younger than me, some are a lot younger than me, and I still look better than they do. My health is still holding out, like I said. From a scientific view, that if you reach 70 years old and you don't have any known health problems, debilitating health problems, that there's a very good chance that you're going to live a whole lot longer. 70 is not a cutoff age when you're in the 70s. Not everybody dies in their 70s. Maybe in the Philippines because their diet and everything else. Or maybe if you got into drugs and alcohol, that'll be something that's going to affect your longevity. Sure, of course. The very people who knock me are the same people that are doing illicit things. Well, not necessarily illicit. They might be drinking, like Popeye. And I know he's a smoker because I'm a smoker currently. And I know a smoker's voice. And I know for a fact that Popeye smokes. I listen to his voice. I understand the gravel he has in there. And how sometimes he has to end a sentence with a, I listen very attentively. And because he doesn't come on camera, I'm not distracted. So I can listen to his voice very easily. And as a smoker myself, my voice has changed. It certainly has. I know it has through the years. Smoking. It does affect you. I had a higher voice. At one time, I was never a soprano. When I was a kid, I was a soprano. I don't think I can do, People said the voice don't match the face when I was in elementary school. I remember that. See, I got a good memory for this shit. Now people have this golden voice. How many times I hear that? People hate when people compliment me. Especially these goobers. They hate when people compliment me. They hate when I do a good show. They hate that I have topic matter. They hate the fact that I don't have to talk about them all the time to make up a show. Aktun Philippines says, Nico will be running the next time he runs into you, Frank. You're strong like an ox. Well, physically, I'm pretty strong, but not like I used to be. Look, you really think I want to get into a physical confrontation with anybody at my age? At least I'm honest. I'm no superhero. I could do things to take care of myself, but, it's according to what extent it'll be, what the situation is. And all situations are different. Could I land some pretty good blows? Do I know a few moves that could hurt somebody? I absolutely do. Believe me, even at my age, I don't just do a treadmill here. No. I don't just do a treadmill, and I don't just do hand weights. I do other stuff too. I've done that for years. For years. I practice certain things. Even at my age, I'm capable of doing a few things that would surprise people. I don't always talk about it. I just say I do my treadmill, I do some isometrics, I do little hand weights. But for probably 40 years, I've been practicing katas, practicing certain moves. You know when I fool around and I dance around a bit? There's some katas involved with that. I'm still very agile, not with my legs as much. I kicked my sensei in the nuts once as a kid when I took up martial arts. No, it wasn't for a long time. My parents couldn't afford the... But I continued. My own daughter. My own daughter. No, I coughed there. My nasal drip. You caught me. Okay. My own daughter never seen me. I'd be in my bedroom practicing moves. Am I an expert in martial arts? Oh, hell no. Hell no. I'd embarrass myself if I actually had to go to an exhibition. But then at my age, I'm going to go to an exhibition? Really? That ain't going to happen. But I did learn a few things. I really did. Now, in an actual life situation, would it work? Would I remember some of these moves? Probably some of them. It's really according. If the person's overpowering you, there are things you can do no matter how big they are. That's true. And I can execute that. I know things can really hurt somebody. That doesn't mean I'm going to come out of the situation unscathed. Oh, believe me, I probably would be annihilated by somebody much younger and bigger than me. More likely than not. But you might be surprised at what I possibly can do. I don't know. I've never tried it out. I'm not one to get into a bunch of fights. I've had fights in my life and I've won them. But you're talking about years ago. We're talking about decades, not months, not years, but decades. Could I take care of myself right now? Truthfully, to a certain point, I think I could. But I think beyond that, it'd just be a faith or, good luck or something that could get me out of a very volatile situation with somebody that's much younger and bigger than me. I'm realistic. So I'm not going to make claims on here. I never have. I never did. Not really. I'm an older man. I can't do some of the things I used to do. Not as well. I just can't. That's nature saying hello. So I don't claim to be. Okay, people will be surprised when they run into you, Frank. You are in great shape. Not in great shape. No, I could lose 2 inches in my belly. Okay. And smoking, well, I'm not saying my lungs are not affected at all, because you are. You are affected. Your respiratory will be a thing that gets in the way. Could I run vigorously? No. I'd probably be coughing up. I probably would be bringing phlegm from my chest. Can't do that. You can get away with so much with smoking, but you're still affected. The cilia in your lungs are still affected. You know, alveoli is affected. You know, it is. But with me, it didn't go that far. I give myself 5 minutes. 5 minutes in a physical confrontation. If I can't accomplish what I need to do in that 5 minutes, it's over. It's curtains for me. I know that. Anybody who smokes, your lungs are not perfect, and they're not going to be. They're not going to be. You're not getting the oxygen that you need. It'll just dispense really quickly. And lactic acid is going to build up in your muscles. Your muscles are going to get weak after a while. That's life, my friends, and that happens to any. Don't have to be a smoker at older age. I'm no hero. I'm no superhero. I don't claim to be. I never claim to be. But if I ever did get into a physical confrontation with somebody, there's one thing I could guarantee. They're not going to come out unscathed. Rock, stick, my fist, my foot. They're not going to come out unscathed. I'll guarantee you that much because I don't go down easy. Unless you knocked me out and I'm down and I can't do anything. Okay, we'll include that one. But they have to get to that point. And who's to say I can't cause any damage? Who's to say? You don't know that. Even I don't know that. 100%. But compared to the average guy, I might fare very well in a situation. I don't know, because I don't go around getting into fights. But what are the odds of me not getting hurt in a fight? The odds are against me. Of course they are. Look how old I am. I'm not fucking Claude Van Damme. I'm not anything like that. I'm no professional in martial arts, nothing like that, man. But it doesn't mean I couldn't learn a few things, which I actually did. That's a good thing to know, for anybody to know, really. You don't have to have a black belt. Just have some knowledge. Even women, I get mad when I hear to see these shows, and the women, oh, yeah. They don't try to defend themselves. The guy's attacking her, even going to kill her. They have 2 arms and 2 legs. They could, they could poke out the guy's eyes. They could kick him in the nuts. There's things that women can do. I give credit to women when it's due because they have the capability of getting out of a bad situation. But if you go by what you see on TV, it's always a woman, and her boyfriend could be getting killed, and she's just standing in the corner. Oh no, leave him alone, leave him alone. She's not helping. She's not jumping on the guy. She's not picking up a stick or a rock to help the guy. She's always the helpless woman, right? No, women are not really like that. They're depicted on movies that way. But believe me, where I grew up, if that happened, there'd be that woman. She'd be grabbing the next stone, gun, stick, whatever, appliance, even an appliance, and she'd be helping the guy out. That's what she'd do. That's what she'd do. Okay, I'll read the rest of the comments here. Just do some verbal juice to calm things down in a situation. 5 minutes is a long time. It's a very long time. I could last 5 minutes. I could last 5 minutes. And I know I can because I tested it out a different way with dancing. I told you a story that I used to fool around dancing. I had a Zumba thing come over my other house. And I decided to play around. It was also a test. But, for 5 minutes, I was kind of playing a clown, playing around, dancing. They all stopped. They couldn't believe the moves I had. Some of the moves were based on katas, but I used them actually in a dance routine. I was good for 5 minutes, but I made the mistake. I would have been good for more. I made the mistake. I had a cigarette before I was dancing. That did it. 5 minutes, energized, dancing away, utilizing my heart, utilizing my muscles. I was hell on wheels for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, yes, my pulse did go up. It did go up, mostly because I smoked about 10 minutes before I actually did that. I was fooling around, you know. I got a sense of humor. They were having a thing at the house with Zumba, and they were shocked. They were actually shocked. I was dancing better than the goddamn Zumba instructor. I'm not kidding. This is not a made up story. Gilda could definitely tell you that. She knows I could dance when I really want to dance. She also knows I could dance in other ways too, in bed and out of bed. And she knows that I have the constitution of a fucking bull. When I get going on something, I don't stop. A team of horses couldn't stop me. So if I had an adversary that wanted to do physical damage with me, it wouldn't be the physical damage that puts me away. It would be the fact that I'd be on their ass for the rest of their life, and my tenacity is known. I do got the tenacity of a mad bull, a strong bull, no matter what age I'm at. The worst thing to do is get on my bad side, because you will have an enemy for life. And I will see to it that I make your life as miserable as I possibly can, legally or any other way. I see a drop of my blood, and my adrenaline goes up, and I am hell on wheels if it ever got to that point. You'd make the biggest mistake in your life if somebody put their hands on me in a way that was not appropriate. You'd have to dealing with me the rest of your life. You'd have to move out of the Philippines if you lived out here or expecting to visit here. And I'm not done with somebody else either. Nico, I'm far from being done with you. Oh, you'll see. Don't have to believe me, brother. Nobody believed me that the certain person was going to be prosecuted, who's in jail for a year and 2 months now. You didn't think that was going to happen, did you? But I kept my word, didn't I? I moved on, I forged on, and I got the job done, didn't I? That's my constitution right there. And Nico, I remember everything you fucking said in reference to me, my girlfriend, my family. I'm never going to forget that. Yeah, Nico, maybe you could kick my ass from here to eternity. I'm even doubting that. And you got a welcome opportunity to do that anytime you want. I could easily be found. Next trip to my town. Be sure to look me up, and let's see what goes on from there. It'll be something that you will regret for the rest of your life, what you have left of it anyway. If your obesity and your metabolics of your body allows you to keep on walking, which you're never going to make it to my age, Nico. That's not going to happen. I assure you, that is not going to happen. It's simply not. You've done enough damage to your body with your past drug addiction and with your current continuation of your alcoholism. Your liver is shot. Your metabolics in your body is shot. Your heart has carried that weight from your obesity for a lot of years. You've already got damage to your heart muscles. Atherosclerosis is probably sky high with you. You're already done. You just don't know it yet. You're already done. You're already done. That moves like Jagger. Actually, I probably did. I even surprised myself. A coronary is possible during a fight, but exertion takes a toll on the heart. Absolutely, that would apply to me too. I can only take a certain amount of exertion. That's why I don't go overbound with like weights and stuff. I just do hand weights. I'm not stupid. I'm doing things on my level. And it's worked for me. I feel better since I've been doing breathing, everything. I feel better since I've been doing the treadmill every day and a little bit of the weights. I feel much better. I feel much better now. That was part of a joke I heard on TV though. Some crazy guy, but I feel much better now. I'm on my meds. And I laugh about that too. As most people know, I take an anti-anxiety drug. It's no, it's called alprazolam, generic name. I take that to kind of give me a little edge in my sleep. That's all. I don't take it because I'm running around pulling out my hair and having anxiety attacks. It's very rare I ever had anything. A few times I did in my life, maybe three or four actually. I take it because I don't take sleeping meds. They don't work for me. And I've been taking this for years, but it's still my best friend. It always will be. Because if you actually did have an anxiety attack, if you don't know what that's like, you think you're having a heart attack, that's your best friend. Oh, that's your best friend, even over your girlfriend. That is your best friend because that will take you out of that anxiety attack in about 10, 12 minutes. So if you have to take prescription drugs, you take them. Like I say all the time, you got some condition, you're taking medicine for it, right? Sometimes it's just a Band-Aid with some people. They don't get the root of the problem, which is the best thing to do. Because everything's a Band-Aid. But the way I look at it, if it works, or if it's not broken, don't fix it. If something works for you, it works for you. So they like to talk about benzos. Here's a funny thing. How many of them are on benzos? They're not going to tell you. Nico's on different types of medication. I know he is. I've heard him talk. I know he's on medication. I think he has an anger problem. Popeye certainly does. I know he's on medication. Without even looking at his medicine cabinet, I know he's on medication. There's no doubt in my mind. Okay. Yes, Pennywise, yes. Hey, I'll take that rest of my life if I have to. Absolutely. I have no quarrel with that at all. No, usually a lot of people at my age, they got about 12 different medications they take for various reasons. Thyroid problems, kidney problems, heart problems, liver problems. They won't talk about that. How many little orange bottles you have there of medicines do you take every fucking day? You know what I take? 2. Lexapro. That's for maintenance of anxiety. It's such a low dose too. It's basically just for maintenance. And alprazolam to help me sleep. It's not the answer, but it works for me. I have no problem talking about that at all. Most people, when they get a certain age, are all on medications. High blood pressure, that's pretty prominent with a lot of these people. There's nothing wrong with my blood pressure. There's nothing wrong with my blood pressure at all. I've even surprised doctors because I said, you smoke for how long? They said, that's pretty goddamn good. I don't have any other problems other than some ailments I have. I do have a hiatal hernia. I've always had that. It don't bother me, except sometimes I get a little acid reflux from there. Other than that, a couple of body aches and pains, but it kind of goes with the territory. So in other words, I'm trying to say I'm in pretty good shape for my age. I just weighed myself actually yesterday. Mr. Frail, they like to call me. Well, guys, 171 point something pounds. Okay? I'm 5'7". What does that tell you? If anything, you'd think I was overweight. But my weight is distributed pretty well. Except for maybe 2 inches in my belly. That's it. That's it. I don't carry around a 46-inch belly like Ricky does. Or maybe a 35, 38-inch belly as Nico does. More like probably about 42 at least. 44, probably around there for what I've seen. I don't. I'm in relatively pretty damn good health, if I say so myself, and I am saying so. I got that going for me. When they reach my age, are they going to be as lucky? I don't know about that. Something that they have to think about. Yeah, it is solid. It is solid. I am solid. And I've been told that by more than one person, believe me when I tell you that. You look pretty damn good for your age. I've heard it from my girlfriend's relatives, children, other family members. I've heard it from people I talk to casually, other Filipinos, even foreigners. They're very surprised when I tell them how old I am. And it always makes me feel good. No, I don't poll people. I did a poll on my show with a bunch of total strangers that came in when they saw I had a live show. I didn't know them from jack shit. They didn't know me from jack shit. I said, I was on camera. I said, how old do you think I look? The consensus of opinions, I looked like I was in my 50s. One guy said 35 to 45. I said, well, come on, that's pushing it. I do look pretty good for my age. I actually do. But that didn't happen accidentally. I had to work toward that. There's a lot of things I do to try to look young and stay young and think young. I don't dress like an old man like Popeye with khakis and black socks up to his knees. I don't ride a fucking mobility scooter. I don't go to fucking bingo. It's all up here in the mind. If you think young, dress young, act young, you take care of yourself, you are young. Age, age is just a number. It's just a number. Sure, it's an indicator you're getting older. You're not going to live forever. I'll guarantee you that one. But nevertheless, it's a good indicator. If you're still healthy at this age right now, you've got a fighting chance of being alive a hell of a lot longer. But when you look at these obese people and immobile people and with their really hateful attitudes, they're not going to last long. Fazio proved that, didn't he? Johnny Warrior proved that, didn't he? There's others. Nico's not going to live a long time. He's 50 years old. 50 years old. Barry's not going to live a long time. He abused his body horribly. 3 to 4 packs of cigarettes a day. I never reached anywhere near that level. I was like a pack a day and I smoke half a cigarette. So it's almost like saying I smoke anywhere from a half on a normal to 3/4 of a pack at my worst. I told you, I'm wasteful. I throw half the cigarette away. Why even smoke? Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Don't make judgment. You don't wear my shoes. I'm active all the time. I'm pretty happy. I dance, I sing around the house. I'm known for that. So I'm not depressed like these jamolis are. They're depressed. They're miserable. Popeye is miserable. Nico is miserable. They're all miserable. But they got to take it out on somebody else, right? That's what they do. I look about the same age as Nico and Bummer. See? There you go. Bummer just... Happy birthday, Bummer. Bummer's 50th birthday, and he's spending it in jail. As well as New Year's, as well as Christmas, all the holidays, he's in jail. By his own doing. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at yourself, not me. You're barking up the wrong tree. What you did got you in trouble with the cybercrime and everything else. You did it all on your own. It was just a little help from me and my friends. Oh, you get by with a little help from your friends. Legally, of course. Of course. The only way I'm going to do it. Legally. I feel better about myself if I do something legal. I don't want to harm anybody. I really don't. But that's a waste of time. So you beat the shit out of somebody, right? And guess what? They're going to heal. You know? They're going to go right back to being the same asinine, low-class, gutter trash person that they are. Wounds heal. And heals wound too. Think about that one. Heals wound too. With that being said, that's my show. Take care. And faith. Well, tell you. Faith, that happens. The very people that spew out all the hate are the same people that are going to meet their destiny, and maybe sooner than they think. Oh, they could talk a good talk. Oh, yeah, they sure could. Talk about your family, your children. Talk about you. Talk about your life that they're not living, by the way. How broke you are. Well, obviously nobody thinks I'm broke. Just the trolls. They know I'm not, obviously. I'm living a pretty good life. I make a pretty good income every month despite the Social Security. And we got things going for ourselves here, legal. And we're smart people. My partner's very smart. She has her own money too. Let's not forget that. Simp, I'm not. Definitely prove that. She got it. She got it going on. I got it going on. If people are jealous of that, that sounds like more of a personal problem of your own, not mine. See what I'm saying? Okay, Pennywise, last comment. Popeye has to be miserable to be talking about the Philippines all the time. It has not been there in over 35 years. I know, isn't that sad? Popeye knows he's an embarrassment. Every time he does a show, he thinks people are laughing with him, but they're actually laughing at him. But they like listening to the show, and he thinks he's very popular. Of course, he gets together with Allo. He's got to have Allo backing him up. Same as Nico has to have Popeye or somebody backing him up, his daddy. Look what Nico does with his mom. They get drunk together. Come on, man, really? And I've heard his mother talk in the background a few times, and I'm not going to even repeat or even make a statement on that. But like mother, like son, I guess, and whatever. Nico doesn't have a lot to look forward to. He doesn't. He's been carrying around that obesity too long. The damage is already done. Oh, he could change his ways and might save his life, but I don't think it's going to add too much longevity to his life, to be honest with you, from every information I know. As learned as I am, Dr. Nicotine here, Dr. Nicotine, coming from John Blaze, who happens to smoke. That's another Jamoli out there. And his girlfriend's going to leave him once she gets to the States after a while. We all know that. We all know that. Hater, he calls Mr. Hate, calls me Mr. Hate. John, Larry, Evans, not only are you full of shit, but you're full of yourself, and you do smoke, Mr. Hypocrite, and you are overweight. I've seen pictures of you, and you lied to your viewers. They don't respect you. You lied to your viewers on so many issues as to where you live and a lot of other information. So you got the Grand Poobah. The biggest boasting you could do is you got the Grand Poobah outdoor barbecue set. Then admits later on that actually, I never said that. In fact, I bought my thing from Walmart. Well, Walmart sells some pretty good shit too. They got some top-end units in there. But no, he had to just amplify it. I got the best of everything. I've got it all. You know what, Larry? I don't think you do. And I'll stick to that thought. I don't think you do. After a while, when you actually spend a lot of quality time with your so-called wife, your concubine, your personality is going to spew out. Maybe not all at once, but over time, she's going to think that I made the biggest mistake in my life to marry you, and I am not going to stay in this fucking bumfuck Egypt town of 150 people population that you said yourself. She's going to want to go back home to familiarity. She wants to go back to her people, wants to go back and get away from a really nasty, judgmental, hateful person like you, Larry Evans. It's not going to last. And how old was she when you met her? What, about 17? Really, Larry? And you could afford to talk? No, you can't. With that being said, happy Pride Month, Gavin Miles. Well, if you're gay, I hope you're happy gay. Congratulations, Mr. Miles. We're so happy for you. All right, guys, I gotta go. All right. I have an upload on here. It's probably on there now. Go listen to it and enjoy yourself. And I'm going to get personal on that video. Oh, you bet I am. And the truth will come out. Who's really the bad guy in my family? And what really did transpire? Oh, yeah, it's personal. But nobody put a gun to my head to put that show on. And you're going to see what a lousy, horrible person that I really am. There you go. You make your own judgment.
All right, that ends his show, man. Dude, we're up to like 35, 38 people listening. Took the took the listeners away from him. You got to come over here and say what you wanted to say as he was running his pie hole. And I hope you enjoyed it. Because I did, man. Oh, Nico, man, he really talked some smack about you. He talked some smack about me. It was just fucking awesome. This guy is upset to the T. Let's see, patted himself on the back. How many times there, Don COVID? What was it? At least 100 friggin' times he patted himself on the back, and he uh, he compared himself to being a Chuck Norris kind of guy. This was really fucking great. He's gonna be pissed when he comes over to scan the show and it sees it's just his show. Let's see, Chris. Nico, no worries. His uncle lived to be 100. uh, now I have to be careful. He's related to Steven Seagal. All of Frank's sock accounts complimented him on his show. I was hoping for 100, so congrats. Don COVID, thanks for coming in. Chris Cato, all you guys, Nico's Experience. Who else was here? The great Illuminati is here. Sim Silicon. Oh my God. This was just friggin' hilarious, man. Atlantic Swamp Walrus. I love some of the names, man. Green Newbie. Oh man, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Uh, if he goes live again, I'll do the same shit. I mean, I'll take his views away. I'll take his views. I'll take his listeners away. Oh man. All right, Sylvania M. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, everybody have a good night, and probably Sunday night, if I'm not too busy, I will be doing a live show. All right. If I can, I'm gonna see if I can put a very special live show together. I think that will shock you all. Is that not correct, Nico? All right, guys, this was Popeye 1. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Popeye 1 out.